Start with a showing of the U.S. Marine Corps Base Camp Pendleton, Main Gate, Chapter 1. Good day to you all. My name is Yu, be nameless. I'm 20 years old, and I'm a United States Marine, stationed at Camp Pendleton, CA, HQ Company, 5th Marines to be exact. I'm married with one son and a new wife at home. My rank is E3, and back in the day, base housing for a non-rate wasn't very appealing, so I paid the extra money to live off base. I lived out the rear gate at the bottom end of Oceanside. Please allow me to paint the picture. It was my first time being on my own, and I was a newlywed. On top of that, we rented a one-bedroom apartment in a place called Los Arbolitos Apartments, which just happened to be on Los Arbolitos Blived. We were so poor but didn't know it. Our apartment consisted of 2 foam couches, a coffee table, a floor model, yes, a floor model TV and a bookshelf. The kitchen had no refrigerator. We used a cooler in its place. We had a stove and kitchen table with 1 chair. The bedroom had a bed with no headboard and 1 nightstand, and a very small dresser. To you, it didn't seem like much, but to us, it was our palace. Home sweet home. The apartment seems to always be busy, always filled with people. My wife had a good number of friends, and some of my Marine Corps friends would stop over from time to time. Most just asking for a hot home-cooked meal. Even though our apartment was way below the poverty level and twice a day, I had to run to the store for ice. We were happy. 2 young people and a baby living on their own. One day I get a call from my friend, E. De Hoyos. Hey, Q. Guess who is here? I didn't have a clue, so I told De Hoyos to just tell me. CPL, Rob. He's here over at School's Battalion. CPL. Rob was a friend. I was stationed with him over on the Rock. Okinawa, Camp Hansen. CPT. Rob was an okay guy, but when he first arrived in Okinawa, I was already with Headquarters Company. It was about 100 to 120 Marines, as we call them, Dark Green Marines, CPL. Rob came from Marine Corps, Barracks, Washington, D.C. He had experienced a lot of racism within the Marines, and he immediately tried to unify the brothers as one. He spoke a lot of negative things about the other white Marines. Light green, I didn't like it, so I went to the commander and snitched on him. He was written up, and after that day, he never spoke of racial separation again. Let me explain, I told on Rob because I'm not into race wars and I didn't like Rob's crap. After that, we became friends, and once I came to know Rob, I found him to be a friend. Once I knew he was in School's Battalion, I went to visit him that evening after duty. We reconnected, and after a few weeks, Rob and my family of 3 and I became very close. Most of all, my son Brian was crazy about Rob. They would play all day long. Chapter 2. Knocking on Heaven's Door. One day, my wife's grandmother came to visit. She came with no advance warning. Oh shit. The phone rings, and it was my wife's grandmother. Hi baby, I'm in California. Where are you now, Grandma? Outside of your apartment. Damn. She walks in and instantly starts looking around. You don't have this, you don't have that. She stayed for all of 15 min and said she had to get going. Later that night, my mother-in-law called. She told us she was going to come to see us for a month. Her mother-in-law told her we were living in squalor. My mother-in-law flew out that weekend, and we all drove to the airport in San Diego and back to Oceanside. We got back to the apartment, and my mother-in-law told us how the word had spread about our poor lifestyle. I felt a bit embarrassed, but we were 2 young people, and it was our first start in life. This was just crazy. I went to the local furniture and appliance store to obtain credit. I was told that because I don't have credit, I can't get credit. Finally, a high-priced loan place gave me the credit, and I purchased a refrigerator and a few things. My new mother-in-law smiled and was telling me that we are now moving forward. Then came Rob. He would come over and play with Brienne, and it would go on all day. The car crash, my look at the afterlife. Rob called me at around 9:50, 3 a.m. asking if I was going to pick him up. I told him yes, and went on base to get my friend. We drove back to my house, as we had many times before, but nothing about this day was the same. Please allow me to clarify the events of this day for you. The cycle of events, I picked up Rob, and we drove to my apartment. The first thing that was different was my son Brian. He wouldn't go near Rob. I found that strange because that was his best play buddy. Every time Rob would look at Brienne, he would run away crying. My mother-in-law found it strange also, but then she looked into Rob's eyes and she pulled herself away. Later on that evening, Rob was still over the house, and my wife was cooking dinner. I was a bit tired, so I went to my bedroom to take a short nap. My mother-in-law made it a point to tell me that something was wrong with Rob's soul. Look into his eyes. They cast no reflection. It's as if his spirit is already gone. I dismissed her comment at that moment and simply went to sleep. After about an hour or so, Rob came into my room and asked me to take him back on base. I said in another 2 hours, I'll get up and take him back. I'm up. I got back up in 10 minutes and said, let's just go now. I'll pick you back up and you can come back over tomorrow. Rob was a strange type of guy. He made me promise to get him the next day. He wouldn't stop asking until I gave him my word. I remember asking my wife if she wanted to come. Tracy said yes, and we went to the car. This was a key moment. I was going to have Tracy sit in the back of the car until Rob reached back to the barracks, but I didn't say a word. As we began to pull off, Rob asked me to go back inside and get his much-coveted Luther Vandross cast tape. I paused for a second and then told him, tomorrow I'll give you the tape, tomorrow. I wish I had followed my first thought and ran back into the house and picked up that cassette. If I had, Rob wouldn't have died this way. The reason I didn't go back and get that cassette was that Rob was a strange guy. He liked for you to rewind his cassette and would have given me his famous signature saying, hey bro, this isn't how I gave it to you. I started driving back to base, and as I was driving on Mission Avenue, I came to a stop at a stoplight. I remember my wife asking me, how does the seatbelt know when to grab and release? I started to explain it to her when I noticed a flash of light in my rearview mirror. Chapter 4. The moment I crossed over. 1 second I'm in my Honda Civic, and the next. Let me explain. The flash of light I saw was really a 1978 Pontiac Firebird, driving at a rate of 118 miles per hour. So I'm told, the driver I learned later was a drunk driver who had just completed a mandatory alcoholic class, and upon his 1-year graduation, he decided to celebrate by getting drunk and driving. He was spotted by a local police officer, and when he was stopped, rather than face his punishment, he took off in hopes of outrunning the police. That's when his car rammed into the back of my car. Mind you, I was at a complete stop. The impact was sudden and devastating. His car smashed into the back of my car, pushing us into the road where it hit a light post, flipped twice, and landed back on all 4 wheels, minus 1 passenger. My out-of-body experience. It felt like a lifetime. I remember being hit, and I didn't have my seatbelt on, so my body was tossed around in the car. Then came the separation. The spirit separated from the flesh. I didn't feel any pain. It was like I was hovering over my body, watching myself get tossed around in the car. My walk into heaven. I was in a dark place, but as I walked, I could see a light, and as I got closer, the light became brighter until I reached a field. It was filled with the most beautiful green grass I had ever seen. The field was separated in 2, split by an aqua blue river. Across that river on the other side was a multitude of people. I didn't know any of them, but in my heart, I knew they were family. One man appeared to me and said, Q, you have to go back. It's not your time yet. After seeing this place, going back was not on my mind. I told the man, no, I'm not going back. I like it here. He told me my job was not complete. I didn't want to go, but once I turned to go back, everything vanished. When I opened my eyes, I was back to utter chaos. A Marine named Alfanador was screaming, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I looked around and the street was packed with cars. I got out of my car and noticed my wife was unconscious, but still alive, and I didn't see Rob in the back seat, so I walked around still in a daze, but I was looking for my friend. I remember hearing a lot of people talking, and like a moth drawn to a flame, my eyes turned up the road about 30 feet from me, was the outline of a body lying in the road. As I walked closer, I could see it was Rob. My friend was dead. I remember standing over Rob's body, and the first thought was that he has on clean white underwear. Thank God, his eyes were still open, and I thought he was alive. Then I saw a thick pool of blood and brain matter come from his head. At that instant, I knew my friend was dead. A life flight helicopter landed and took my wife to the hospital, and an ambulance came and transported me to the Vista Hospital. A woman see a ghost in her hospital room. My wife saw Rob. This may sound hard to believe, but it happened. Later that night, I was released from the hospital ER. A nurse at the nursing station informed me of my wife's room number and her critical condition. I went to her room, and she told me 2 things that have forever shaped my life. Q, I'm pregnant. I asked how the baby was. She said she's okay. Q, Rob was just here, and he said he was in line and had some time, so he wanted to tell me some things to tell you. He said he's not angry with you. It wasn't your fault, and that you are not to worry. He will not come back to see you. I almost fainted. I always had a fear that a close friend would die, and the ghost spirit would come back to see me. Up to that moment in my life, I had never told anyone about that fear. I told my wife that Rob died in the accident, but she didn't believe me. It wasn't until a nurse came into the room and confirmed that Rob died on the spot. Both my wife and I have not spoken of this since that night. I left the hospital and walked several miles home. On my way home, I noticed a 3-foot-tall entity in the trees following me. B factor. I won't discuss this B factor. It's something I must live with. I feel it's something that attached itself to me on my way back from my near-death journey. I wish to thank you for your time that used to read this short but true story. Chapter 5. My reflections. Why? Why? I can't tell you why I even wrote this short story. It was way too much TMI. I have often had conversations with friends, and I'm asked what is my gift of service that God or the Creator has for me. For me, it's clear. I am to write. If you say I'm to teach or gather people to give or share my testimony, then isn't my books just that? Why did I write this short story? I don't know why. Most of my books are thoughts that scream for attention. I was in the middle of writing a great Western book when this book cut in front of it and demanded to be written. Show a view of heaven and hell. Heaven and hell, I was raised Christian and long since evolved into a spiritual being. I'm not blind to any one religion or its self-proclaimed rituals and rules. I had a glimpse into the afterlife, and I no longer believe when you die, you just sleep, waiting for the rapture. When you die, the flesh is left empty. The spirit transcends to the next journey. Trust me, it's not sleeping. This life is filled with many paths. Many are good and some are not so good, but it's a choice we all have to make. For me, I have chosen to walk my own path, create my own direction. It's not popular, but it's who I am. Prior to saying goodbye, I wish to express one simple understanding. The Creator is the same, no matter the religion or state of mind. I wish you not a safe journey, but rather I wish you peace of mind. One Creator, one love. U, B, name, less.